Hey folks, my guest today is Adrian Casey. He's a qualified civil engineer from University College of College Cork. Following his degree, he worked as an IT consultant for Accenture and PwC in Dublin and Toronto. In 2008, he co-founded Ireland's first online HVAC and solar PV installation business, and in less than 3 years, grew that business to be one of the largest installers in Ireland thanks to its focus on the digital customer journey. Having seen how popular this was, he launched a SaaS product called Pipelyne with a Y.com. The company helps home service companies double their inbound leads with no additional marketing spend. It's the first in a range of products he hopes to develop this year to bring home service companies online. Adrian, you ready to take us to the top?
Absolutely.
All right. I always love someone building something to scratch their own itch. It sounds like you've done that, huh?
That's exactly it. Yep. So yeah.
Are you still running the physical business, the actual HVAC and solar panel installer?
So we still have that business. So what we actually have is we've a holding company, and we have Swift Energy, which is our HVAC and solar PV business, which my co-founder is heading up, and I'm heading up Pipelyne, which is our SaaS business.
Interesting. Okay, so Swift Energy, when did that officially launch? What year?
Yeah, so that was back in January 2018. My co-founder and I saw a gap in the market, and that the installation of energy services in Ireland was very much offline. So we set about set about setting up a HVAC and solar PV business, an online, HVAC and solar PV business. Since then, we've grown that business to be the largest, one of the largest in Ireland. It's nearly 100 people now between full-time staff and actual contractors. But when we started initially, we looked at existing software in the market, all the way from lead generation forms through to actual e-commerce platforms like Shopify, Magento, etc. And what we realized is that they were very much focused on product-based businesses and didn't meet the intricate needs of service-based businesses. So we ended up building our own technology.
That makes a lot of sense. And what's that website? Is it swiftenergy.com?
.ie and Swift with a Y as well.
Swiftenergy.ie. Yep. Okay, very cool. And give me a sense. I mean, 100 full-time people, you launched in 2018. How much revenue did that business do in 2021? Just that business?
Yeah, so we started in 2018. As I said, we did about 2 million in our first year, up to 5 in the second year, and then we were on track to do 10, and then COVID hit. So we should be back up at around the 10 million mark this year. That business.
Okay, wow. Very cool. So I guess the reason I asked that question, it must be hard to walk away from a business doing 10 million revenue to take a bet on a new idea. That's the SaaS business. How did you have that conviction?
Yeah, I suppose mainly because we've seen the value of what the technology has delivered for us, and we do genuinely see a big gap in the market in that, service businesses around the world are very much offline. The Swift Energy business is very much set up to scale, and we have a great management team in there as well to be able to grow that business. We brought in an operations director as well who's heading it up on the ground. So, that has given us the freedom to be able to go and pursue the SaaS piece as well.
Okay, so what year did you write the first line of code for the SaaS business?
So we started that around the middle of last year. So probably around July, August last year. And it was very much taking what we have built already and turning it from, a standalone solution into a multi-tenant SaaS product.
So how did you officially spin that out? Is Swift on the cap table of Pipelyne?
Yeah. So as I said, we have a holding company, and all the investors are at the holding company level. We transferred the IP from Swift Energy into Pipelyne last year as well. So the IP is in Pipelyne, and then we're licensing the technology back to Swift Energy.
I see. So Swift Energy is your biggest customer.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay, very cool. What does the cap table at the SaaS company look like? Like, do you own majority like a traditional founder would?
No. So there's 2 of us in the business as co-founders in Swift Energy initially. So as I said, we're all at the holding level, and everyone is at the same percentage. So any investor that came in after that as well is at the holding level.
Oh, what's going on there, YouTube? Good to see you guys. Now imagine this. You love watching these interviews with SaaS founders, but imagine if we took all of the valuation data out from over 2,807 interviews I've done manually. Saves you a lot of time. Well, we've done this. We've built it into the beautiful interface inside of FounderPath. Check this out. I'll show you how you can access this in a second, but you log in, you connect your Stripe account, you see your valuation real time, you can see what it changed over the past 88 days, and even set goals for valuation this year. Now, the secret to valuation is there's many different ways to value a SaaS business. So the reason you're going to see 3 or 4 different valuations inside of your FounderPath dashboard, this is all free by the way, is because depending on who's doing the buying of your SaaS company, you're going to get a different valuation. A VC is going to pay a different valuation. Private equity firm is different. If you're going to do a minority sale, that's different. And if you sell the whole business, that's a different valuation. You can see all those when I hover over here. Right. So the teal is what a VC would pay, yellow is what private equity, and red is if you sold the whole thing outright. Now, what's cool about this is not built off random data. Again, you guys hear these interviews on YouTube. All these data are built from real-time valuation data points founders share with us on the show. So traction, 1.2 million, seed round, 3.7 raise, they sold 22% of their business. Go in here and filter by the event. Maybe you only want to see companies that have sold the whole business. Well, here are a bunch that have been acquired, the valuation and the multiple. Maybe you're going out right now and you're raising your seed round. Well, go in here and look at all this recent seed deals that went down, what they raised, what valuation they raised at, and what percent that they sold. There's never been a larger data set of SaaS valuations than what you can get now inside of FounderPath, and we're thrilled to bring it to you. All right, we're going to go back to the YouTube video here in a second, but if you want to check this tool out, if you want to jump in and sign up, you can check it out for free to get your valuation at this link, founderpath.com/products/valuations. Or if you go to founderpath.com and hover over products, click on get your valuation here and go ahead and sign up to give it a whirl. Again, all that valuation data live right inside the platform. I hope to see you there. All right, let's jump back into the interview. So you and your co-founder split Swift Energy 50-50, and Swift Energy now owns also 100% of Pipelyne?
So Swift Holdings owns 100% of Swift Energy and 100% of Pipelyne, and myself and my co-founder split Swift Holdings 50-50.
I see. Okay. And you mentioned investors a couple of times. Have you raised capital? If so, how much?
Yeah, so we raised capital. So we raised capital for Swift Energy. We raised about 3 million for Swift Energy over the few years from 2018 to 2020. And before Christmas, we raised 1.5 million for Pipelyne.
Okay, so you raised 1.5 million at the end of last year. That was, I guess, your seed round. Most companies are selling 10 to 20% in sort of your pre-seed round. Were you guys sort of in that range?
Exactly. Yeah, pretty much in the middle.
Okay, very cool. So if you're selling 15% of the business, that's sort of like a 18, 19 million pre-money valuation, 20 million post, something like that.
Yeah.
That feel fair to you?
Yeah, I think so. With everything that's gone on with COVID and everything at the time, so pretty happy with it.
And how do you balance sucking team members out of the main Swift Energy business into the SaaS business? Don't you sort of, eat your own kids a little bit?
Yeah. So we had an IT team in Swift Energy, and they've come over now into the Pipelyne business. So there's about 8 of us in Pipelyne, pretty much all kind of product. But we are now starting to grow the sales and marketing side as well. So they are 2 separate businesses like that.
I see. Okay. So 8 on the team right now. And obviously Swift Energy is your biggest customer. Talk to me about what Pipelyne is delivering. So is it literally marketing automation for services businesses? And if so, how do you charge?
Pipelyne is in the first product we're launching at the moment. So it replaces a contact form on a home service business's website with an engaging form that asks the customer for their information in a conversational way. And then we utilize that data to provide the customer with an instant estimated cost for the service that they're looking for. So to give you an example, if you're a HVAC business that installs gas furnaces, instead of driving all your Google traffic to your static contact form, instead you direct it to Pipelyne, where you can ask the customer a series of questions like the property type, the fuel type, the square footage, and you can then provide an instant estimated cost for the service. And because the customer is being rewarded for submitting their information, i.e. they get to see an estimate, we're seeing an average of 220% increase in leads for people using our form.
Interesting. And obviously you'll be able to pass on more data as well because you're asking smart questions, which get tagged to that contact.
100%. So you can route accordingly on the back of that.
Mm-hmm. What are gas companies or gas boiler installer companies paying on average per month to use Pipelyne?
Yes, we have a number of different price points, $99, $199, and $299, depending on features. On average, we're at probably around $150 at the moment across all the users that we have.
And so are you only upselling? So if someone pays $99 a month versus $299 a month, at $299 a month, are they getting more products, or do you upsell based off number of seats or number of leads or any other upsells besides just product upsells?
Pretty much product upsells and the number of submissions as well at the moment. In terms of upselling down the line, like our goal this year is to launch our e-commerce store, the one that we have in Swift Energy. We're looking to move that over into the SaaS product as well. And that is our goal here, is to start with the estimator piece and then upsell the actual e-commerce store. That's our big vision.
Interesting. And obviously your own company was the first customer. How many paying customers do you have today?
Yeah, so we have about 50 users altogether, and 50, but about half of them are paying.
Okay, got it. And when you say users, are those companies, 25 companies?
Companies, sorry, yeah.
Okay. Do you have a per seat model? Does the company pay for 5 seats, for example?
No, not at the moment.
Okay, okay, got it. So 25 companies paying $150 a month on average. You guys are doing about $4,000 a month right now in revenue, right?
Yeah.
This is great. So, and I guess what percent of that is coming from Swift Energy?
Just one Swift Energy, just one customer. So
Okay, so
one,
$200 a month.
yeah, no, we are charging it extra for the e-commerce store. So that's costing a lot more. But for the actual piece that we have, no, it's $150.
And so explain to me how that works. Again, I'm a gas boiler sort of installer or an HVAC installer. I use Pipelyne. You're sending me leads. Let's say you sent me 100 leads for, Northern Ireland last month. Help me understand how the e-commerce store would work.
So the actual the leads piece, you actually put it on your own website and you white label it as your own. So it's not like a marketplace, if that makes sense.
Okay.
It's on your own website. And then the e-commerce piece, the typical journey is for a home service business, you need to send an engineer on site that actually views your property and gives you a quote for your boiler or your furnace. And today that is sent, in a PDF quote, which is pretty static. On the e-commerce, what we do is we convert that static PDF quote into an actual e-commerce store where the customer can add on additional products such as a smart thermostat. They can pay for warranty packages. They can apply for finance. They can schedule their installation online. So you can really think of it as converting any quote or invoice into an e-commerce store.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense. Makes it a live cart experience where you can upsell, downsell, etc. Talk to me. You casually mentioned their financing. Have you guys raised a big debt facility to finance against quotes or do any sort of lending, offer any lending services?
Not at the moment. So it's like on the Swift Energy side, we're working with a third party, but that is a big part of the market opportunity that we see is one, percentage of GMV when we launch the e-commerce store, and two, the actual financing piece as well.
Mm-hmm. Now you just got this going last year. You're just now adding customers. You're at 25 today. How do you go from 25 customers to 200 customers? What's the main growth channel?
Yeah, so we're actually still like pre-launch technically. If you go to pipelyne.com, we haven't fully launched it, so it's kind of been organic. And one of the ways that we're building it is looking for, I suppose, networks of businesses that have a large network of home service companies. For example, if you're a marketing agency or a web design agency or a development agency who might have 100 home service companies working for you, we have at the moment we're working on an affiliate program, but we're looking to also potentially roll out a white label model there as well, where agencies can use it for their clients.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And how do you plan to go find those agencies who will then use it for their clients? Like, do you find them on LinkedIn, Facebook groups, somewhere else?
Both, really. Yeah. So LinkedIn. So we've actually engaged with a sales outsourcing team based here in Cork. So they actually work with startups to help scale the businesses. So they've given us an agent who is doing LinkedIn outreach at the moment.
Who is that, by the way? I'm always looking for resources like that because it's a number one request that I get. Who are you using?
They're called Autonomy, OTONOMEE, I think. So the guys there, they've worked with in Stripe and Airbnb, etc. So that they're really experienced guys. And we brought them in to kind of consult and also give us resources.
Are they actually hiring reps inside of Otomy to run your sales calls and things, or are they hiring someone that you can bring on as a full-time employee inside of Pipelyne?
And also it's the first one you mentioned there. So they're actually hiring into their business and then we're consulting them in.
Interesting. Let's say you fall in love with one of the reps they put on your account. Do they let you hire the rep full-time, or is that a big no-no?
I haven't had that conversation, but I've worked in consulting before, and it's a big no-no in IT consulting. So I imagine it's the same in sales consulting.
Yeah, it's slowly changing. I mean, there's a bunch of outsourced SDR shops that I recommend to founders, and some of those shops are now letting founders hire trained SDRs after 6 to 12 months of working together. There's a big fee for it, obviously, because it's that's tough, but it's a new model.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. I haven't had the conversation yet, but we'll see.
Oh, to me, very cool. All right, and got it. And so, is the pricing model that you pay those guys more sort of like a retainer, just a monthly retainer?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Very cool. Okay, so using those guys to help you scale, you're at 25 customers today. You raised the 1.5 million. Where are you investing most of the money?
So product in terms of product additional features to the existing product, and as I said, moving the e-commerce store into the SaaS platform. And then it really is marketing and sales. We just bring on with marketing person now on board as well, and it's about ramping up that and start getting some inbound leads rather than just pure outbound.
How many folks are on the engineering team right now?
So we have 4 altogether.
Okay, got it. So 4 on the engineering team, 4 others, one of which is a marketing employee.
Yeah.
Okay. And talk to me, obviously every founder, the number one thing is don't run out of cash. So how are you managing burn? You raised 1.5 million. How much are you comfortable burning per month?
Yeah, probably, the 30 grand mark, probably 30, 40 grand is probably where it's at. But I mean, we do plan on raising a lot more, I suppose, this year as well. But really, I don't want to do that until we actually get some proper traction, because we want that valuation going up.
Yeah. What revenue metric do you want to hit before you start thinking about raising your seed round?
I'm ambitious and I'd love to get to the 85,000 a month mark, but we also have probably an option, to be honest with you, in terms of debt as well in the holding company. So that might be something that we could do a mixture of equity and debt, because we do have the Swift Energy business as well there, which is generating profits.
Mm-hmm. Would you ever use debt against your MRR? So like there's all these firms that would take 5K of MRR and give you, 50 grand up front today sort of thing.
Yeah, I haven't looked into it in detail, but it's something definitely on the list already to look at, because I've heard about it and I've heard it in your podcast as well. You've mentioned it a few times.
Yeah, we do it. That's my other business. That's why I ask. I'll follow up afterwards and see if we can. I mean, we love stories like this. I especially love your story because one of the pattern things that I see from doing over 3,500 of these interviews now, the most successful SaaS founders come out of building software for their own other business. And you perfectly fit that prototype. So makes a lot of sense to me what you're doing. Cool. Okay. So thinking about maybe raising later this year, debt or equity, we'll see what happens there. Again, 8 on the team. No churn, right? Once people sign up, no churn yet.
I think it's too early to even mention that. We haven't, but it's too early to say, I think.
Yeah, guys, Adrian's not kidding. If you go to pipelyne.com, you'll see it's literally a landing page with an email up that says launching March 10th. And we're recording this here on March 3rd. So it's literally not launched yet. Adrian, right? Adrian, right? March 10th is the launch date?
March 10th, sorry. Yeah, I think I lost you there.
Yeah. Very, very cool. All right, let's wrap up here with the famous 5. Number 1, favorite business book?
Probably my favorite book is Shantaram.
Who?
Shantaram. It's not a business book, but it's a novel.
What is it? Shantaram?
Shantaram.
How do you spell that?
Shantaram.
What's it about?
So it's a guy in I think grew up in New Zealand, ended up getting, I think, arrested over there, escaped from prison, moved to India, and just lived a crazy life in India on the streets. So it's kind of based on a true story, but it's just a crazy life story more than anything.
Yeah. It's a novel. Greg David Roberts is the author. He's talking about Pentridge Prison and all that, right?
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah. Very cool. I've heard some other founders mention that book, so it makes sense. Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
Not really. Probably more following businesses. I listen to a lot of your podcasts, Nathan. So.
People always go, Nathan, why do founders agree to come on? They know they're gonna have to give up all these numbers. So I can just ask you, why? You know the show, you know the format. Why'd you say yes?
I think I actually like the way you interview in terms of straight to the point, and you get especially you get to listen to businesses at all different stages, and I think that information is valid.
Yeah, well, we're excited to get you up on the website and feature you guys. I predict huge things for you. There's the pattern. Again, I love the ability to see patterns is what I crave the most. And I see a very obvious one here. So I'm pumped for you guys. Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building the business?
So probably UTrack is what we use.
UTrack. Number 4, Adrian, how many hours of sleep are you getting every night?
It depends, anywhere between 4 and 8.
Okay. And what's your situation? Married, single, kids?
I'm single, no kids.
No kids. And something you wish you knew back when you were 20?
Definitely start younger and start a recurring revenue business as well.
I love that. And how old are you now?
32.
32. Guys, there you have it. Adrian launched Swift Energy back in 2018, grew it to $1 million in revenue, then 2 million, up to 5 million. They were going to do about 10 million, then COVID hit. They're back up now to about 10 million is what they'll do here in 2022. As he was building that business, said, you know what? our marketing engine is robust. This needs to be a SaaS platform for all services businesses. So that's what they've launched. They've spun out a SaaS tool called Pipelyne with the Y. They've got 25 customers, $50,000 in ARR today. So about $4,000 a month in MRR, raised 1.5 million at around a 20 million post-money valuation back before Christmas last year to keep scaling this. We'll look and consider it raised later this year if they're able to get revenue up to around the $1 million mark. We'll see what happens. Adrian, thanks for taking us to the top.
Great. Thanks, Nathan.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.